Good morning,
Hi,
sir.
Arushi. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Where are you joining us from?
Sir, I'm joining from Dehradun, Uttarakhand, sir.
Okay. You belong to Raebareli, though.
Yes, sir.
Right now, you are in Dehradun.
Yes, sir.
How come? You are visiting your relatives or friends or what?
Sir, I was born and I did my schooling from Raebareli. But, sir, currently I am undergoing my probationer period in the Indian Forest Service. So, sir, I am presently in Dehradun at Indira Gandhi National Forest Academy.
Excellent. Lovely to know that you are in Doon Valley and you are joining IFS, and it's wonderful.
Thank you,
So, which year did you join the IFS?
Sir, I joined IFS in the year 2020 in December, sir.
The Forest Research Institute is a beautiful campus.
Yes, sir.
Can you describe it? What are the features of this FRI?
Sir, FRI is, as pointed out, is a very beautiful campus. And sir, the beauty lies in many dimensions, but formerly and firstly, it will be the majestic building that is nestled amongst the foothills of the mountains. The Shivalik mountains are the background. They form the background of the building. And sir, the second thing I would say are the well-maintained lawns of the FRI in the campus and the adjoining buildings that are there. Sir, all are very majestically color-coded in red and white, and they give a very beautiful image of the academy. So third thing that is very interesting and very lively that I found is the large trees that are there, that because never in my life have I had ever seen such huge trees. So they are very huge trees and built and planted in a very symmetrical manner across the roads. So sir, these are the some things that I find very beautiful and peculiar about FRI.
I envy you to be there in that beautiful surrounding during this season, rainy season. How many hundreds of acres or whatever is the campus, FRI?
I'm sorry, sir, I do not know the exact dimensions of the.
Who is the head of the institute there these days?
So the head of the institute is Mr. A.S. Rawatji, and he is an IFS officer.
Okay. Arushi, tell me, if you were selected for the civil services now, and you are in charge of a district, how would you handle the COVID problem in your area? What are the various measures you would be taking?
Sir, if the COVID situation is bound to arrive, if I may take it as a case of COVID third wave.
You are preparing to check the third wave, yes.
Yes, sir. So first, I will see the strength and weaknesses of my district, because I will be seeing at the data what happened, what went wrong in the first and second wave, and what were the areas where we were able to perform well. So, sir, accordingly, I'll prepare a matrix, and based on that, I'll improve in the areas that needs improvement. For example, if we can increase the number of shelters for the migrants, or we can improve the public delivery system of the grains, or we can improve the the density of vaccination centers, or the density of public health centers, or community health centers. Sir, I would also like to improve upon the strengths that our district has. It might be the district hospital or the tertiary hospital have been very good at responding. So, sir, in that case, I will try to replicate those models across all the tehsils and blocks of my districts, and the referral services I'll improve. Sir, apart from that, what I would like to focus on that is there are many cases which do not reach the hospitals because of their peculiar situations. It may be elderly, or it may be single destitute women or very poor people. Sir, for them, I would like to install a system of door-to-door surveillance and door-to-door asking or telephonic conversations, are they feeling well or there are any situations, and then accordingly they can be brought to the district centers. So.
Okay. Can you describe your background in a few minutes, your education? I noticed you did metallurgical engineering, which was very interesting, but give me a total snapshot of your background, both education and family.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have completed my schooling from Raebareli, Uttar Pradesh. So then I went to Kota for my preparation of IIT JEE, and then I cleared the IIT JEE examination in 2010. And I pursued my graduation from IIT Roorkee in metallurgical and material sciences. So thereafter, I started preparing for the government services. And in 2018 examination, I got selected for the Indian Forest Service. So thereafter, I have been continuing my preparation as well as my probationership time. Sir, continuing about what my family does is that my father is a lawyer and my mother is a teacher. And my father practices in Raebareli and my mother teaches in Raebareli only. And sir, I have a younger sibling, that is my brother, who is graduating from IIT Jodhpur this year.
Okay. Which discipline is he going to get his degree?
Sir, he is graduating from biotechnology.
Oh, that's interesting. What are your goals in life, Arushi? What do you want to do?
Sir, I want to basically pursue two things, if I may consider it in a broad way. Sir, first, I would like to contribute positively in the life of any person in any capacity that I am, being a government servant or being an individual person. Sir, contribute positively, that might be even a very small change. And secondly, sir, I would like to have a comfortable life with me and my family. So these are the two broad goals that I think for life.
Very honest, I must say. How can you make your life comfortable? Can you describe?
Sir, I think that a peaceful life needs very few things that can be described from the basic tenets of the Indian culture that we often say, the roti, kapda, and makan. Sir, if I'm able to fend for my family and we are able to have two or three decent meals, me and my whole extended family, if we are able to have a roof, and if we are able to spend comfortably on basic necessities, sir, I think that and a joyous family bonding will lead to a very happy and comfortable life, sir.
But how would joining IAS be different from the IFS? Salary, etc., would be the same.
Sir, the salary is not the motivating factor, sir. Sir, here, because, sir, in my course of preparation for these services, sir, I came to know about different dimensions and different sectors where one can contribute in. So, sir, in the preparation, I found that IAS is one platform that that can give me an opportunity where I can contribute in different dimensions and can contribute more positively in the lives of the downtrodden, sir.
You came to know about it during the preparation, you didn't know it earlier. Why did you decide to appear then?
Sir, earlier I was having a faint idea because back in 2009, a senior from college, from IIT Roorkee, Mrs. Shubhra Saxena, scored rank 1. And it was an enthralling experience for the college because when she came, she guided us because what can be the opportunities and challenges in these services. So based on that, I started my preparation. But over the course of time, sir, after studying, I came to know about the depths and the opportunities that it provides.
Okay. Over to you, Neeraj. Like to ask any questions?
Arushi.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How has been your experience in the Indian, excuse me, in the Indian Forest Service so far?
Sir, the experience has been very wonderful, and I would say I have been very grateful for the experience because, sir, I was able to know about the various dimensions of forest, wildlife, and environment in an academic way. So speaking non-academically, it was an experience because I was able to meet many resource persons of higher intellect and higher experiences. and because of the academy. And sir, we were able to go for many treks and tours, and we were guided by many resource persons. So sir, these were the broad areas that I liked about the experience of the Indian Forest Service.
Is there anything you don't like because of which you are planning to switch to another service?
Sir, I would humbly submit that there are actually no push factors in my appearing for the civil services. Sir, I like the Indian Forest Service a lot, and there are certainly nothing I would say that is negative. But I just started the preparation for civil services, so I'm continuing with my effort in the last attempt, sir.
Okay. Uh, there is a very famous conservationist, a hunter turned conservationist, uh, who operated or who worked in the Kumaon Hills and came to Dehradun very often. You must have heard of him.
Sir, Jim Corbett, sir.
Yes, I'm referring to Mr. Corbett.
Ji.
What do you know about him?
Sir, recently we had a trek to the Jim Corbett National Park, the forest trek, and in that trek, sir, we came to know that Jim Corbett was a very famous hunter, and it was because of the situation that he was in the Kumaon areas, because of the leopard menace. I would not say menace, sir, it is a wrong word, but the human wildlife interaction with respect to leopards was very high, and he was the person who was able to instill confidence amongst people because of the safety he was able to provide with respect to the leopards who turned man-eaters. But sir, gradually with the course of time, he realized the negative interaction that was happening, and how effectively national parks and wildlife sanctuaries and protected areas can be formed so that such kind of negative interactions do not happen, and both the and humans and the wildlife can live comfortably. And sir, in that domain, he worked hard, and he was the pioneer in establishing the first national park of the country, that is the Jim Corbett National Park.
Was it he who established the park, or was the park established later and named after him?
I'm sorry, sir, I would recorrect. The park was initially established in 1936 and it was named Haley National Park. And it was later renamed based upon his contributions in the area.
Have you read his books written by him?
Sir, I have certainly brought the books, but I did not get the time to read, and I will be reading after my interview is over.
Okay. And there's a very famous book he has written on a man eating leopard. Have you heard of that book?
Sir, the Man-Eaters of Kumaon, if I may say.
No, Man-Eaters of Kumaon is about leopards and tigers. But there is one particular book which he has written about a man-eater that was a leopard.
Sir, I would certainly ask my friends about it because I brought only
No
one.
problem, no problem. Because the world of Jim Corbett is a very fascinating world. And I remember having read Jim Corbett extensively when I was a schoolboy. And reading about Jim Corbett and his exploits as a youngster was a different experience altogether. But nonetheless, tell me, at what rate is the forest cover of India declining or increasing every year?
Sir, the forest cover of India is increasing every year, if I may say. Sir, the rate at which it is increasing can be termed from 0.5 to 0.8%. With this annual increment, the forest cover is increasing all over the India, sir.
Broadly, what are the types under which the forest can be divided?
Sir, there are many classifications on which where there are different types of categories. Sir, going by the NCERT definitions, there can be a few basic types. That, sir, first is the rainforest that are in the tropical areas. So, second are the moist deciduous forest. So, the third are the dry deciduous forest. Fourth are the temperate forest. And fifth are the alpine forests.
What is the greatest threat to our forests? The biggest challenge that the forest cover of India faces today?
Sir, it is difficult to admit, but it is the human pressure that has been an encompassing challenge that the forest cover of India faces.
So what is it on account of? Why are forests being denuded by humans on a regular basis, and what can be done to stop that?
Sir, answering the first question, why forests are being denuded by the humans, sir, it can be thought upon two levels, sir. Directly, it is because there is the population increase, and there are negative dependencies that have been developed. For example, the encroachment or the use of timber from the forest, and there have been human wildlife conflicts, and that results into retaliatory killings or poachings. So these kind of things. Sir, but there are indirect reasons also, because humans, as a tendency of any social being, they want to grow and they want to have a comfortable and a decent standard of life. So for that, they have been emitting a lot of greenhouse gases, and they have been and it has led to, sir, a major climate change, and that has been also negatively impacting the forest. For example, it can be seen that the very dense forest cover is gradually changing to the medium dense forest covers, and the open forests are turning into grasslands. So these are the kind of things that we still see as forest, but the quality of forest is also decreasing, not only the quantity.
What as a forest officer would you do to preserve our forests?
So there can be multiple things that can be done. So firstly,
No,
what
I'm
I
asking what would Arushi Mishra do if she's posted in the field to preserve the forests? If she comes to know that in her jurisdiction, forests are being denuded.
Sir, based upon the understanding I have developed so far in the academy, sir, it can be worked on two fronts. That is it quantitatively decreasing or qualitatively decreasing? And for that, sir, for quantitatively, the first thing I would do is check the maps and the border, and point out the border stones, and there needs to be a proper fencing and demarcation so that the revenue area and the forest area can be segregated and can be understood, so that the monitoring is done, uh, so that encroachment and other interventions can be managed properly. And secondly, sir, I will try to see that are the forests qualitatively decreasing. For example, are there some pests, or it is because of these things are changing to grasslands, or there are issues of wildfires. So, sir, accordingly, after seeing the issues, I'll make an action plan, and based upon that, we'll work on that, sir.
What would Arushi Mishra do to improve afforestation?
Sir, to improve afforestation, it can be done in the forest areas and outside the forest areas. Sir, in the forest areas, my primary concern will be to manage and see what are the seedling and what are the regrowth times of the forest, of the various seedlings of the forest. So for that, there are certain clearance of forest floor, so that they get regenerated properly. So, sir, for that, I will see that are the insecticide proper, or there is no pest attack, or are the floors cleaned, so that the regeneration takes place and afforestation is there. So outside the forest area, I will contribute in two dimensions. First is that, for example, sir, in UP, there are afforestation drives going on in every year. So, sir, for that, I will be preparing my nurseries well, and I will be contributing towards the agroclimatic species that can grow well in such so that all the 30 crore saplings, for example, that was planted this year, all they grow well, even if they are not very well cared. And secondly, sir, I would try to implement the Nagar One Yojana, if possible, in my district, so that we improve the urban forest.
Okay, thank you. Rajiv ji?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Hello, Arushi.
Good morning.
Morning. So you are passionate about swimming.
Yes, sir.
Okay. what are the prospects of the of our team, Indian team, in the Olympics?
Sir, the Indian team on the personal Indian level have been doing their best, and this time was the first time that our swimmer Sri Hari Natraj crossed the A plus ranking, sir, that was required. But sir, when it is concerned at the international Olympic level, sir, it would be a grim reality, but to accept that our prospects are good, but we will not, it is not feasible to project that they will be winning the medal. Certainly, they'll be reaching to good levels, sir.
How does he compare? His timing compares to Michael Phelps.
Sir, I have read about it, but currently I'm not able to recall. But
It's okay. Yeah,
it
it's
is-
okay. Yeah. Okay. Tell me the length. What is the length of an Olympic swimming pool, and what is the breadth, and how much volume of water it is supposed to?
Sir, the length is 50 meters of the international size Olympic pool, and sir, breadth is breadth is exact 25 meters. So because there are 10 lanes of 2.5 meter each. And sir, coming to the amount of water it can hold, sir, it is 1 billion cubic meters of an average volume of the international swimming pool.
Okay. Now, what are the rules governing diving boards in a pool in India?
Sir, I am not aware of the exact rules of the dive related to diving board. Sir, I'll read about it.
Do you dive?
Sir, I have dived in college. Sir,
Okay.
we had a swimming pool, but later on I was not able to continue that, sir.
Okay. We don't find many pools with diving boards now. They are not allowed to be constructed unless they are for a specific purpose of training or for going into competitions. I miss diving a lot.
Sir, in our college, we had two levels of diving, the 3 meter and the 10 meter.
Yeah.
Sir, and we had an Olympic-sized swimming pool as well. So we were, so the instructors tried to train the candidates into that, sir.
Was it all pool weather?
So no, sir, it was not an all-weather pool because it was an open pool. So, sir, during the winters and during the monsoon times, at certain periods of time of monsoon also, it was closed, sir.
Okay. Tell me, what are the rules that govern your conduct now as an IFS officer?
Sir, as far as I have seen in the academy, there are Indian Forest Service rules also, and there are All India Service rules also. So these both rules govern our conduct, and there are a broad code of conduct that I have read, sir. But I need to refurbish my knowledge upon this, sir.
Yes, and while doing so, also read about the disciplinary rules that govern your conduct now. And if you get into a central services like the IRS that you have opted for, there are different sets of rules, both conduct rules as well as the disciplinary rules. So just keep yourself okay.
Thank you, sir.
Now,
I will read about it.
Yeah. Okay. Now tell me, have the Citizens Charter succeeded in the objective for which they were conceived?
Sir, Citizen Charter was a very rightful and a very needful intervention. Sir, in India, the Sevottam model was one model that was promoted and that got successful in some of the southern states. But sir, pan-India applicability of Citizen Charter, though it has been mandated somewhere and it has not been mandated somewhere, but their practical visibility is very low. Sir, if I may recall one incident, the utility of citizen charter had been a lot because I was in Hyderabad and my I-card was lost. And because of the language barrier, in the police station, we were not able to understand what they are saying, and they were charging us more. And so there was citizen charter all over there pasted over it. So as North Indian people, we were able to read and we were able to rectify it. So it is a checks and balances with respect to corruption, sir. And I think that it should be implemented in pan-India level, sir.
I hope none from the Hyderabad police are able to access your recording. Arushi, tell me, what are the wildlife legislations in India? Can you draw up a chronological list of it?
So the first wildlife legislation comes from the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, because it was the first act where wildlife as a specific aspect was dealt in India. Sir, hunting was also banned in this as only. Sir, before that, it was the Indian Forest Act that governed the peripheral issues of the wildlife. For example, the Indian Forest Act of 1927, it was about the peripheral issues, and the national forest policies of 1865, 1878, and the 1978. They concerned about the protected areas creation for the wildlife. But Wildlife Protection Act was the first act, sir. Then after that, there came many acts that were supplementary to wildlife. For example, the Biodiversity Act, the Forest Conservation Act, and the Environment Protection Act. So these are also the acts that in a way supplement the wildlife conservation in India.
What was a major change in the constitutional provision with the 1972 Act?
Sir, the major change in the Constitution of India.
Yes, yes. This act brought about a certain change in the constitution itself. I mean, with reference to the constitution itself. Okay, doesn't matter if you cannot recall, it doesn't
Sorry,
matter
sir,
at
I'll
all.
keep about it,
No,
sir.
no, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you at the end of the session. Okay, now tell me, is the caste system in India assuming another form to reinforce the inequality in society?
Sir, caste system has become a boon and a barrier for many things. Sir, caste system has been evolving to decrease the inequality because of the political mobilization of the groups that have been disadvantaged, as we have been seeing in the elections, sir. But also it is also reinforcing the inequality because certain castes who are socially and economically dominant, they are able to amalgamate amongst themselves, and they are able to mobilize the economic resources for themselves. So, sir, both ways it is increasing and as well as decreasing the social inequality.
Okay. Have you read about how was suicide criminalized in India? I mean, in what manner it came to be criminalized?
Sir, the history of suicide being
Yes,
criminalized.
yes, and how? What is the status today?
Sir, the history I'm not aware of. I might, it occurs to me that it might have been a Victorian era law, and suicide might have been considered as a crime because of two reasons. Because first, it was considered as pathological, and second, there was apprehension that it happens because of the somebody abetting suicide. So because of this, it might have been a crime, sir. Because and third, sir, most important, because extinguishing a life in Victorian morality is something that is not celebrated. And sir, in the present era, the suicide was decriminalized in the Mental Health Act, and sir, today it is not criminalized, sir.
Have you, Rishi, have you read the second ARC report, or at least some parts of it?
Sir, while preparation, I read about it.
What does it have to say about the code of ethics?
Sir, I faintly recall, but the code of ethics was, I'm sorry, sir. So the code of ethics, as per second ARC, it was said that code of ethics is something that needs to be brought on all levels of administration and executive, that needs to be political and permanent executive both. And it will be something that will be guiding the civil servants in the areas where code of conduct cannot be specifically designed.
Okay, maybe my last question. Let me take a chance by the time Chairman sir comes.
Yes, sir.
What was what are your recollections about the Uniform Civil Code, CC?
I'm sorry, sir.
UCC, the Uniform Civil Code.
Sir, may I please request you to repeat the question, sir? The connection on my end was lost, sir.
Oh, the Uniform Civil Code, UCC.
What, sir? Uniform Civil Code. What is it?
Yes. What do you recollect of it?
So, Uniform Civil Code is the civil code that was desired by the constitution makers as the ideal case where the Indian personal laws of all the communities of the citizens that are living within India should be the same. The personal law, because the criminal laws are already the same, similar for every community. So the personal law should also be same, because it entailed equality amongst the citizens, equality amongst the communities, as well as equality amongst the genders. So, sir, it was envisaged and it was mentioned in the Article 44 of the Constitution also. And since then, there have been multiple debates and discussions over its necessity or its whether its time has come or not. So,
Yeah. Thank you, Arushi. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rajiv ji. Arushi, I must first of all compliment you on your knowledge,
thank you,
your
sir.
personality, your demeanor.
Thank you, sir.
I think you have a very good chance of making it through.
Thank you.
So go with full confidence, hope, and trust that you are going to make it.
Thank
I
you.
would suggest that you wear a bit of formal dress when you go for the interview. When is your interview?
So it is on 23rd of August, and I'll be wearing a sari along with the coat, blazer.
Excellent. That's lovely. And you can keep your hair properly, brushed and stuff like this.
Yes, sir.
Excellent personality.
Okay.
Now, I would like to just mention to you that some of the areas which you feel that you need to brush up your memory on this,
Yes,
you
sir.
please do. You have plenty of time. You prepare a list of possible questions. You have faced the interview earlier. You have joined the IFS. You know what exactly it makes to get into it. So prepare your possible questions very well, which could arise out of your background, out of your interests, which you have indicated, and the contemporary topics around the date of your interview. Which newspaper do you read?
Sir, I read Indian Express. And sir, I was intending to read Times of India also, because now the interview is closer, sir. But I would, sir, kindly, sir, suggest what to read, sir.
Oh, it's fine. Whichever, all the newspapers are good. Times of India and Hindu are good papers. Basically, you should be able to get a balanced perspective and prepare a few areas very well, which you feel you can score high. And during discussion, if you can steer your conversation towards those areas, it would be beneficial to you to score high marks. Whether it is economic subjects, whether it is the social areas, which could be education, which could be health, which could be environment. Environment would be obvious since
Yes,
you are working in that area. So some of the areas, they could be areas relating to circular economy, relating to environmental preservation. So prepare a list of the possible questions yourself, and you should try to know as much as you can. Environment is certainly afforestation, environment, carbon economy, and all those things. How much total area in forest in India? What is the structure, the forest wealth in India? Could be asked on the herbal plantation, exports, Uttarakhand, all those areas. For paucity of time, I'm not going to all possible questions. You would know better what are the immediately evident, the obvious questions which you could be asked.
Yes.
Prepare yourself very well.
Yes, sir.
Have a few interviews done in front of the mirror. Maybe you can record
Yes,
on
sir.
your mobile phone and so on. You can also see some past interviews on the YouTube. There are plenty of interviews available on YouTube. Some of the very successful, some of the model interviews which are available.
Yes, sir.
So try to see them and improve every day incrementally when you are doing your mock interview yourself. So that's what I would like to suggest. If you want to ask me any question before I pass on to Mr. Neeraj Kumar and others, anything else you want to ask me?
Sir, I want to mention here, sir, I have two questions, sir, that I needed to discuss with the board as well. Sir, I have submitted my DAF where 2019 DAF part 1 and 2020 DAF part 2 was there because I was not able to find my 2020 DAF part 1. So, sir, the clear picture was not visible of my DAF. Sir, the point is that last year I got selected for Indian Revenue Service Customs as well. I secured 229 rank and I got selected, and it is mentioned in the DAF.
Yes.
Sir, but this time also I have mentioned it as one of my preferences in the services. Sir, if the board asks, sir, how to answer it well, sir? Why you have left now and why you have written?
Doesn't matter. Your first preference is obviously what it is. So others are mentioned just in case. So it doesn't really matter. You focus on your first 1 or 2, 3 preferences. It doesn't matter, really. Over to you, Neeraj. Would you like to give her any feedback?
Yeah, Arushi, I was also mighty impressed with your answers. You have a very good power of articulation. You structure your thoughts well. When I kept asking you about afforestation, what I was looking for was community participation.
Okay, yes, sir, I should have said.
Yeah, see, the most important thing that a civil servant, whichever service he joins, should try to focus on is community participation. Wherever, whichever service you are in, even in the IAS, you will have a lot of occasions when, if you involve the community, your job will become much simpler and much more focused.
Yes, sir.
So what I was waiting from you to say was that I will involve the local community.
Yes.
I'll ask them, because a large number of them depend upon forest wood, for their source of energy, for cooking and other things. And in fact, it has been now established that the greatest challenge to our forests are because of the continued dependence on forest wood for day-to-day energy requirements of the local people. So if we are able to generate enough amount of electricity, provide them electricity, perhaps they would not depend on the use of forests. So yes, that is one thing that you should know and you should focus on. Otherwise, most of your answers were absolutely up to the mark. And certainly you should know a little more about Mr. Jim Corbett.
Yes,
because you are in Dehradun, you are part of the Indian Forest Service, and he was considered one of the pioneers of conservation, even though he started his career as a hunter. And if you read his books, you will realize how much he loved the Kumaonis people and how much he loved the forests and the wildlife of that area. Right?
Yes, sir.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
From my side.
Sir, I have a question. Sir, may I ask?
Please, please.
Sir, there were many questions that you asked. Sir, in my mind, there were two ways of answering the question. Sir, for example, afforestation or for example, afforestation. Sir, there can be a broad aspect where I can start that it can be done within the forest areas and outside the forest areas and give 1 or 2 points in each. Or, sir, I should focus on giving 3 or 4 fixed points, sir. Sir, I was very confused what to cover. The broader.
No, I thought this categorization is beautiful. I mean, one is that we have to reforest our own forests, because they have been denuded. So by planting local plants and, they will replenish and rejuvenate the forest. And the other is the bordering areas, and even otherwise, even in urban areas, unless we inculcate the love for trees and love for forests, and there at the level of our children, at the level of schools, if we develop the love for nature and love for trees, and involve everybody in afforestation, in plantation of trees and all, then it will make a lot of difference. So your categorization was fine. You don't need to be too scientific, because of course afforestation can be done in several ways, right? So I think it was fine. Okay.
Sir, my answers weren't very long, sir.
Not at all. Not at all. Your answers are good. They are to the point, and you were quite articulate. You could express your ideas well. But remember, when the question is asked, the interviewer is, generally very clever. He is looking for one particular thing.
Yes, sir.
So try to gauge what exactly he wants to know. And once you know what exactly is being looked for, you would be able to hit the nail on the head. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, there is no end to knowledge on any subject. Okay.
Okay, Rajiv ji, anything else you like to
Yes,
add?
sir. Yes, sir. Arushi, firstly, on the wildlife legislations, I thought you would, because I had not specified a time frame, so I thought you would start with the 1887 Wild Birds Protection Act. That was the first legislation in this direction, followed by 1912, which was Wild Birds and first and the Animal Protection Act. Animal protection was then added. And 1972, I specifically asked you as to what changes it brought about. So it shifted from the state list to the concurrent list. That
Okay.
was one change. And then Schedule 5 and 6 were added regarding hunting. So these were two significant changes. On the UCC, Uniform Civil Code, you did mention Section 44, but it also should have, I thought you should also be mentioning directive principles of state policy.
Yes.
It is now, yes. And then on the, and that the only state which has introduced it in full measure is Goa, and but with two exceptions of giving birth to a child at for different age for women and different age for men. There are two exceptions they are made in the act, but in order to make your reply complete. Then finally on the suicide, yes, the British, we have borrowed from the Victorian legacy, you said correctly. But in 1961 they did away with that act in Britain itself. We have continued. We did make feeble attempts. We made a very, in fact, emphatic attempt in it was, I think, in 2007. Can you read it? We passed it in the Rajya Sabha to decriminalize suicide, but we failed because by the time it went to the Lok Sabha got dissolved. So thereafter, several judgments have come. One, several in favor, several against it also. One of them saying that you have a right to life, but you do not have a right to die. So, but what was the last word said was a mental health care bill was introduced. Can you, yeah? But that decriminalizes suicide only for those who are mentally ill, not for any others. So the main focus of the bill, the decriminalized aspect of suicide still remains for anybody who cannot prove that it was on account of a mental illness. That is about all. UCC have said, yes. That's about all. And on the code of, can you read the second ARC report, just some parts of it, especially on the code of ethics and on the citizen charter, because they've given reasons why it has not succeeded to a large extent.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And on the swimming, you can't be missing out if you've given swimming as your ECA, extracurricular, you can't be missing out on the records held by Michael Phelps. Just read about him. He is a legend in the swimming. So we, all swimming lovers, have him, hold him in very high esteem. All the best, Arishi. You did very well. I was mighty impressed, as the board members have also pointed. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you for joining us, and I hope to see your name in the list of successful candidates this time. Do remember to call us at that time. And tell us
one last question I may ask, sir. Sir, I'm sorry for taking more time. Sir, one last question.
Yeah.
Sir, I am just curious that why didn't the board member ask me questions regarding my home, regarding that they did not point out why my home state is written as Rajasthan, while my education is from UP and then from Uttarakhand, and my parental address is written as Uttar Pradesh. Sir, I am just curious that why does the board member, sir, in many interviews they have not asked, so I wanted why.
It did strike us, to be honest with you, right in the beginning, but there were so many other questions which were floating in our mind. We didn't ask it, but of course, it did strike us. We did notice you are a truly an Indian national when you have something somewhere else. So it is not a handicap. In fact, it is an asset in your case. So you are not confined in the narrow boundaries of any particular state. But don't worry.
Okay, sir.
All the best to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All the best.
All the best,
Thank you all.
Dadaji.
Thank you, sir.
God bless.
Thank you, sir.